We had a new painter using C2 for the first time last week, and he was doing ceilings throughout a home, and he ordered 6 gallons of the C2 paint for these ceilings.
Mm-hmm.
And he, because he was accustomed to using another paint from a big box store, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how much he would have normally used. He went through 2 gallons
2 instead
of the
of 6.
that he
Unbelievable.
ordered. He said he couldn't believe it. And he said the other thing was that he at the end of the day, he said, or even actually after the first hour of painting, he said he looked at his arm and there were no speckles on it.
Really?
The paint did not splatter on his arm, and he was accustomed to having his arm, immediately full of speckles after
Mm-hmm.
just a few minutes.
So people can try out the C2 paint over at Teschner's on Monroe Avenue
Yeah, you got to get a swatch, too.
Definitely.
and see all the colors and get the gigantic 18 by 24 inch C2 chip, it's called.
Oh, thank you.
Get it right. This is
Right.
Property Source Radio, 222-6397. I'm Brenna Hartman. I'm the Fixie Check. We're live from High Falls Studio in Rochester, and we've got open lines. Our guest today is Tasha Palmer. She is the owner of Teschner's Decorating. We're also visiting with Scott McCurdy. Scott, I didn't ask you the name of your business. Is it
Scott McCurdy Home Improvements.
Scott McCurdy Home Improvements? And how can people reach you if they need a paint job or some other kind of contracting work done? We should appreciate you being here today and give out your number.
I can be reached at area code 585-313-1693.
And Tasha, what's your number over at Teschner's?
I don't know if it's late enough in the day for me to be able to remember something like that. I think we just got a new number at our new location on Monroe Avenue. It is 271-1183.
Yep.
271-1183, and that's TeschnersDecorating.com. We've been visiting today, getting a lot of great information on decorating and painting. So I'm the do-it-yourselfer, and I always want to know how to do it, and I'm trying to learn how to do it right the first time. So regarding painting, I have a question. I was reading somewhere that it's important when you're cutting in to maintain a wet edge.
I think you're thinking more in terms of rolling the walls and keeping a wet edge. In other words, not painting a section of the wall and then moving to another section of the wall and letting that dry before finishing that whole wall. You want to maintain a wet edge and keep working along until you have the whole wall completed. That way the paint's going to blend together and dry out more evenly without leaving ridges from the edge of the roller going up and down the wall.
That makes sense. I was thinking of it, putting it in the cutting end, which I want to ask you that if you should cut in a room or roll first. But I was reading that you should only cut in the wall that you're painting, not the whole room. Now, see me, I would think, oh, let me get the cutting in out of the way and do that, tape everything, cut it all in, and then maybe roll it the next day. But that's not how it's done, huh?
No, again, with cutting in, you want to cut in one wall first, then get that wall rolled. Even though what you cut in, by the time you get around to roll, it might be partially dry already, it hasn't cured out completely yet, and everything's going to blend together nicer. And again, I cut them first, just so that when you go through the roll, you can get the roller closer to the wall and have less of a brush line along the edge being visible.
That makes sense.
Good. I like it.
How do you paint, Pat?
I watch Scott, really. But he does a great job when he holds the brush and talks to me for 15 minutes without the drips on the white carpet. That's my favorite.
Yeah, Pat's eyes get big as saucers. I'm standing over that white carpet talking to him.
I swear he does it on purpose to me, too, because he starts talking away and waving the brush around, and I'm freaking out because the white carpets are everywhere. But anyway, I wanted to say, because Tasha mentioned about using a third of the same C2 paint as you would as a competitor. Scott did my living room last year, and it's 20 by 14. I measured it the other night with him just so we could talk about this. 20 by 14 room, painted it with 1 gallon of paint, 2 coats. And I bought 2 or 3 gallons because I wanted to have enough, and that was obviously too much.
So you got that for sale on the Craigslist or what?
Craigslist, baby. $39 a gallon.
You can't take that business away from Tasha over at Teschner's. We've been visiting with Tasha Palmer from Teschner's Decorating, and she's located at 2815 Monroe Avenue, and that's on the border of Pittsburgh and Brighton. They have a great website, TeschnersDecorating.com. It's TeschNERS Decorating.com, where you can find information on painting and staining, wallpaper, blinds and drapes, upholstery service, interior design, paint specifications, and so much more. If you're interested in learning more about this fabulous C2 interior and exterior paint that we've been talking about on this edition of Property Source Radio, please feel free to give Tasha a call, check out their website, or stop in and visit their store. I want to remind our listeners that next week we're going to have a visit from Carm Santora. He's actually the executive director of the Better Contractors Bureau here in Rochester, New York, and we're getting ready to kick off Rochester's premier home show. Starts Friday, February 26th. Pat, that's always a sign to me that the home improvement season is on the way. Spring is on the way. Thank you so much for joining us today, Tasha, Scott, and Katie. We really appreciate you being here for all the great information.
That was really fun. Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.